You started wrestling recently, I think in the last couple years.
Yeah, I had my first match in November 2023. It was for a charity event. I thought I was just going to sign autographs and like take selfies with kids and stuff. I was just trying to help out. And then dude just asked me, do you want to be in a match? And I'm like, wow, Sami Callihan, a wrestler I admire, is giving me an opportunity to have a match on a show that has Ronda Rousey and Jacob Fatu and Jon Moxley. Like, this is kind of special. I'm gonna say yes. So I took some classes and got in the ring, and you know, a lot of people can say what they want, but I showed that match to Hall of Famers and they're all saying the same thing. They're like, that's your first match? I was like, yeah. They're like, if you got in shape and wanted to do this, and we already know you can act and talk on a microphone, they're like, you could do this thing if you want to. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have said that.
Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we are on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. And on today's episode, we are covering the 2014 Intercontinental Championship match with Emmy and Golden Globe award winner, the star and main lead of the luckiest man in America and pro wrestler, Paul Walter Hauser. And we get into talking bonding with John Hamm over Macho Man Randy Savage memes.
John Hamm will randomly text me at like midnight and it'll be a Randy Savage promo.
A big life moment with Walton Goggins.
Just kind of gave me like an emotional pep talk that he didn't owe me at all.
Yeah.
And it was the sweetest thing and it meant the world to me.
Speaking of crying when you didn't think you were going to cry, geez.
The 411 on his jump into professional wrestling.
Straightjacket style flatliner, known as the house arrest.
You made your own move. That's f***ing sick. And at the end, Jack cooked up a very special chill zone presented by Coors Light. You got to stick around to the end. Let's go. Let's go. Games with Names, a production of iHeartRadio. December 14th, 2014, Quicken Loans Arena, Cleveland, Ohio.
Tables and ladders and chairs.
Oh my!
This is the Boots and Ladders match.
Welcome to Games with Names. Today, we are going to be talking and looking at a very special match between Dolph Ziggler and Luke Harper in the 2014 Intercontinental title match, TLC, with legendary actor Paul Walter Hauser here in the Nut Studio. I have the first question of the day. In one sentence, why did you pick this match?
Oh, I'm not good with one sentence, but I will try my darndest. I chose this match because it is exemplary of the things I most admire about wrestling and entertainment at large.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe our best one sentence answer.
Maybe our best one sentence in the history of the show.
And I barely graduated.
Took me 19 years to get my degree.
A lot of people go to college for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah. I use
Great
that all the
Tommy Boy
time,
quote.
but it wasn't the case. Is this the greatest match of all time?
I won't say that. No. I think the greatest match of all time from my limited viewpoint would be Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. Also an Intercontinental title match, I believe, from WrestleMania 3.
Fuck.
Yes.
Pontiac Silverdome.
Oh, yeah. And that, I correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but that got one of the best promo cuts ever of cup of coffee in the big time. Cup of coffee in the big time.
in the big time, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cup of coffee, the cream rises to the top there, little jacket boy.
Steamboat Dragon, you're going down, brother.
Savage, also a two-sport athlete. Let's give him props.
Baseball.
Dude legitimately
Cardinals.
played baseball.
Like, was a beast. That's where he got his nickname, Macho Man, because they would put that sign over there, right? And he said he'd always hit it 200 feet over the sign. That's how strong he was.
Oh, you are talking our language, man. He is a big part of our pantheon of heroes here.
Yeah, well, the more I find out about him, the more I love the guy. And I can relate to his flaws more. Like Hulk Hogan, I can't really relate to his flaws, but I can relate to Savage's flaws of like, he got a bit jealous. He was a bit territorial. He had a temper. I'm like, yeah, I've done all those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we talk about it all the time. I get in a wormhole on social media, depending on which one I am, of at least 35 minutes a week of Macho Man Randy Savage content.
John Hamm will randomly text me at like midnight, and I know he's just like enjoying a drink sitting in bed or something, and it'll be a Randy Savage promo, and it's like there's something about dudes watching like Savage promos.
It's
when
not
they
even
got
the
nothing to do.
promos. I love watching him when he's in the Swiss Alps skiing in a fucking in his goddamn underwear. I like watching him when he's in Afghanistan visiting the troops. Like, he is Macho Man everywhere in the goddamn world. He makes me so happy. And people look at him when he's in a different country, like, these dumbass American. And I'm like, oh my God, I love him. He's so
Little
crazy.
did they know that was like the height of Americans looking cool. Now we look like fucking morons.
We're sending our best guy.
We used to look dope, man.
Yeah.
We were very confident about our 1980s wrestlers.
Not anymore. But wrestling, sports fan. Where did this sports fandom come? What and are you a fan of other sports, or you just straight wrestle?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was a diehard MLB fan. He worked at County Stadium in Milwaukee, and he, diehard Brewers, but he was born in Elgin, Illinois, so he was also like closeted Cubs fan. Ernie Banks was like his guy. So growing up, we played Stratomatic, that baseball board game, and that was like a big deal for us. But baseball, when you're a kid, it takes a special kind of kid to really appreciate baseball because it is one of the slower sports, just the pacing. Now that I'm an adult, I freaking love watching baseball. Give me a 5-hour game in the afternoon on WGN, awesome.
Only 2.5 now with the pitch count, but
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
you know what? And that hurt me the most for exactly what you said, because when you were a young kid, you got to go to a game maybe on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And if it went into extra innings, you got home at like 11 o'clock. Maybe your mom said you didn't have to go to school because she was tired from driving.
That's so tight. Yeah,
It's the
dude.
length of baseball that I love.
So relatable. Yeah. Your dad's going through the McDonald's drive-thru at 11:15.
Yeah.
I'm like, who am I? Yeah. This is my hangover. So I was a baseball fan in general, rooted for the Tigers. Cecil Fielder was my guy. And then we got really deep into the Green Bay Packers in like 94, 95, because we had a family friend who just kind of indoctrinated us. It was kind of like one of those Scientologists who's like, let's have a conversation. Like we had like that conversation with a Packer fan, and we would go to his house for all the games. And he was a good host, putting out the chip dip and the barbecue, and it was such a vibe, This guy had like his man cave to watch Packer games. Shout out to Dave Bergant, who's probably in heaven and doesn't give a shit about the Packers anymore.
He's probably watching Packers win Super Bowl all the time right now in heaven.
Bart Starr, man. Is Bart Starr dead? I just assumed.
Yes, he is.
He's quite old.
He's pretty old. From everything you just said right there, my mind instantly went to you being an actor and the Scientology question. Has someone asked you to be part of Scientology yet?
No. When I've walked by the centers and they've tried to give me stuff or talk to me, I just said, no, thanks, man. I'm a Jesus guy. And then they're like, well, that's okay. Some of us are Jesus guy. And I'm like, nah. Because my whole thing is, and God bless him, dude. Well, it's not like my religion is super normal. I believe a guy rose from the dead. Like, I can't make fun of them that much. But it is funny how like some people are like, being vegan's easy now. It's like, nah, you're just like, this is part of your sales pitch, homie. You've been reading up a PDF privately in your bathroom on your phone that tells you what to say. Like it's not the same thing.
I disagree. Not a PDF. They're scrolling TikTok, and that's what they're learning from.
TikTok, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah,
Scientology
TikTok, man. No, but I very much baseball, Packers. Michael Jordan was. It went Jesus, then Michael Jordan. So, like, Bulls fan. I didn't come into my own identity of choosing my own sports teams until, like, after high school. It was like, okay, I'm moving to LA to become an actor. I'm going to become a Dodger fan. I, like, committed to Dodgers. Also, I got to see Kershaw play in the minor leagues because, like, he was part of the Great Lakes Loons, which was, like, in Midland, Michigan. So, like, I grew up going to minor league games, and then those guys would get sent by Tommy Lasorda to the Dodgers, and you were like, oh man, like it felt you had more of a connection, and then I still root for the Packers, but it just got messy. Like Favre kind of God bless him. He just there were X amount of things where end of his career, post-career, it's like, stealing from people isn't the most mad chill thing to do. And then Rodgers, he's just been on such a public journey. I feel like if Rodgers was a 90s quarterback, he would have had a much easier, better time.
Oh yeah.
But being in the age of like information spotlight, that I feel like that really dicked him over.
I just happened to play with the psychopath at quarterback.
Yeah.
Who all he cared about was fucking winning football games. And when
to me, that's the Michael Jordan effect, though. Brady is like Jordan. I love Favre and Rodgers' gameplay, but they don't have the Jordan mindset.
I know, but I get so mad because he is that talented with the arm. His arm is spectacular, and he can still throw. It's just the stupid antics, like some of that stuff, like. And I don't even think he means to do it. I think he's just one of those guys that is just like.
He became evolved emotionally midway through his career, which, by the way, is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But it does affect the career if you let it. And for him, it was like, I do feel, outside of perspective, I don't know the guy. I met him once. We did an SB sketch, and I had a blast. He was super nice to me. But having said that, I think, like, you can let your emotional journey get in the way of whatever the journey is on the field. And if you're more concerned about self-care than the care of your team, that's going to be an issue.
Well, yeah. I mean, at that position specifically.
Specifically.
That's I've heard you talk about the pressures of a lead, a starring role compared
versus
to a different role.
Cobra
I don't know.
I, Tanya, completely different from Luckiest Man in America or Blackbird or whatever.
Because when you're the star, every day everyone's looking at you, right? Or when you're starring, you know what I mean? You said that. I remember you saying the pressures of feeling like you had to be on it all. I saw
also,
an interview.
let's really put it in perspective with the Rodgers thing of like emotionality and your duty at work. You know, Jim Carrey famously did that Andy Kaufman movie, Man on the Moon.
Alienated people.
But a lot of people say he alienated them, made them feel uncomfortable, was over the top, was unreliable. And it's like, I'm attached to play Chris Farley in a bio movie. There's no way in hell I am walking onto that set and letting my process dictate the emotional environment for everyone else. That's, I think, preposterous.
Yeah.
You have to be a good enough actor to be able to show up and be like, I can still do my process while being a mensch and making people feel seen and being a leader.
Yeah.
To me, those are not, I just don't think it's that hard. And that doesn't mean I'm better than anyone. It just means I have a little bit of cognizance and awareness of the people around me, I think.
Yeah.
You got to when you're in a leadership role, I think.
Yeah. And that's how I feel. You know, so.
But you know, the Michael Jordan thing is interesting too, where it's like he cared so much about the team. He gave so much to that team and the organization, the players. But at the same time, it was the him show. It was the Jordan show. And it's like, is that by proxy of his greatness or by proxy of his attitudinal stance and his emotionality? I wonder about that because different players will say different things. They'll equal parts, you know, they'll say Hosanna on a Sunday and crucify him on a Friday.
Certain players will say certain things, but not one player will say he didn't give his everything. And if you're a competition guy, which if you're in this form of business, that's what you are. You compete for a living, then you'll never have anything wrong with that. He can be an asshole. He can be whatever it is because he's given his absolute everything that he feels is his possible mindset to make this team better.
I'm more like Rodman, where it's like, I'm going to go wrestle a wrestling match and get hit with a chair, and I'm still going to show up on set and be fine.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Dennis Rodman. That's like my favorite player of all time.
Everyone. I mean,
are you excited for that movie coming out?
It was supposed to happen with my buddies Chris Miller and Phil Lord. They were going to make the Rodman movie. It was like 48 Hours in Vegas, and they attached Jonathan Majors to play him. I hope that still happens somehow. That would be a great movie.
That'd be fun.
That'd be sick.
That'd be fun.
Sports movie meets like a raucous comedy. Like that's.
It reminds me of Get Him to the Greek.
Very much so.
Get Him to the Greek with Dennis Rodman.
Get Him to the Greek meets fill in the blank basketball movie.
Yeah. Now Chris Farley. Wait, when you said with Jim Carrey and alienating people, Now, didn't he go full method for that whole thing?
That was my understanding from watching the Netflix documentary on the topic.
Did the guy that he played, what's his name?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. Was he alienating with his
He
people?
alienated everybody. That was his whole
See, that's
shtick,
probably that's how crazy genius I think fucking, because some guys are like that. I think that's what I've heard. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Were their methods so much like we were talking about Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah.
How he's crazy method. You know what I mean?
I have the funniest story about Daniel Day-Lewis secondhand because I've never worked with him or met him. But I worked with David Strathairn on this movie, Luckiest Man in America. He plays Bill Carruthers, like the guy who's the head of the show. And Strathairn was in Lincoln. And, Lincoln had a sprawling ensemble of all these dope actors who, they have 12 lines, but they're like Spielberg and Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I would serve sandwiches here. And Strathairn is doing this big table scene where I think it's where Lincoln is like, we need to end slavery now, or whatever that thing is. And, well, I just made it sound very stupid. It's a powerful moment. I'm an idiot. Strathairn says Hal Holbrook, classic actor, is no longer with us. The brilliant Hal Holbrook is coming to set. And everyone's excited too because they're like, man, Hal Holbrook, classic actor. It's like, Jack Lemmon status or whatever. And Holbrook shows up, and as he sits down, Daniel Day-Lewis, who's so in character but wants to pay respects to Hal, is saying to him as if he's talking to the politician or dignitary, like, I've admired your work from afar for a very long time. Like, I'm talking to you about your acting career, but I'm pretending we're talking about our positions in the movie. And gives like a really thoughtful compliment to him. And everybody is watching it like, whoa, even Daniel Day-Lewis is giving this guy his props and is going out of his way, but doing it in the covert character sense. And then when he's done with his little mini speech, Hal Holbrook goes, oh, well, I just love doing the fucking wheelchair movie. Talking about his Oscar-winning performance in My Left Foot. And when Strathairn told me the story, dude, I lost my mind laughing. I thought it was so funny. Like, he didn't pick up on it or even care. He was just like, oh, I'm going to say something back to you.
Has there ever been a set that you walked on, like, where you were intimidated by an actor?
Oh, God, yeah. Every time.
But who's like the biggest actor that you were intimidated? Because I remember the first day for me.
Yeah.
My first.
Oh, I want to hear this. I'm curious what your version is.
So my rookie year, in our first like mini camp, we're calling plays and the team's coming together, rookies and veterans.
Yeah.
I roll up in there and they put in a personnel group 4 wide. So it's me, Wes Welker, Randy Moss, and Joey Galloway. Tom Brady at quarterback.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
22 years old going in there like, oh my God, I'm gonna shit my fucking pants. I hope I don't fuck up my play. I hope I get to my right depth. I hope I see the side adjust, whatever. Like, I was intimidated because I didn't want to fuck up their funk because I watched them before me and it looked like a fucking it just looked like the professionals' way to look.
Yeah.
It looked like pro, A1. These guys were hitting balls. Everything was methodical, like a machine. And I went in there, I was like so nervous I didn't want to fuck up the machine. Who is that actor for a scene or a movie that you rolled into that was like, I don't want to fuck up this role or this scene?
It's hard to choose one because they come in different ways. Like, my first film was called Virginia. It had all these brilliant people on it. And one of them was Ed Harris.
Yeah.
And Ed Harris, it was tough I acted with him and Jennifer Connelly in a couple scenes. And it was tough to work with them, not because they were difficult, but because I've spent my whole life watching them. So it's like I have to take myself out of being the viewer and say, you are now being viewed. And like, you have to get over that in your head a little bit. Because, I almost forgot my dialogue because I was just thinking like I'm watching their performance because they're so good. They're so effortlessly good that you're kind of like getting drawn in. You're like, I'm not at Video Village. This is not my job. I have to jump in a second.
Movie rental spot for the people that don't know.
No,
right?
it's when you're watching like the cameras.
Oh, there was a movie rental spot in my hometown called Video Village. I didn't know if it was a chain.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. I shout out to Video Village. Wish you were still there, VV.
Our video village is right here.
Video village being like the place where they're watching the it all go down. But I did Super Troopers 2. I had a small part. But you have to understand, Super Troopers is one of my 10 favorite comedies of the entire lineage of comedy. It's one of my favorites of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, I used to work at Mrs. Fields in the mall. I skipped school to see Super Troopers during the day with my brother Matt. And within weeks, when I'm working at Mrs. Fields, I'm doing the meow game that they do to Jim Gaffigan. I'm like, okay, you want to have done some cookies? Meow, meow. Which one did you want, meow? And I'm just like doing it, like seeing how many I can fit in. Like, so the day I go in to shoot Super Troopers, I am in my bed and I have a panic attack and I'm crying and I'm literally like reading the Bible and praying, trying to get in a good headspace. Cause I'm like, that first movie's perfect. I'm going to be one of the people that F's it up, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like so scared. And then I got there and it went fine. But like, there is emotional pressure based on how big of a, as they say in the wrestling industry, how big of a mark you are for the person. Now I've gotten better over the years. Now, and once again, this has to do with the match that I chose. You know, Dolph Ziggler and Luke Harper are not the two biggest wrestlers of all time. Most people are like, the match I'm choosing is Andre and Hogan or Ric Flair and Steamboat. But for me, like, I am very much attracted to and magnetized to the lesser known people that do an incredible job. And I was always that way. Like Peter Sarsgaard, Michael Shannon, Sam Rockwell. I'm fascinated by those guys, and I'm more intimidated by them than a Brad Pitt, Denzel Washington, just because I think it's harder to be that guy. And maybe Denzel and Brad would disagree with me probably, but you know, that's how I view it.
I can see that too in our field of a guy that has a reputation of being like a professional. First one in, comes in, does his rehab, does his prehab, gets his film in, goes to meetings, does this, that, instead of the guy who's like the superstar, like that, like everyone is just famous, but like I'd be more with my peers nervous around the professional guy than the superstar guy, because you know what he's about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
100%.
Where did this fandom of wrestling come from? Now, you wrestle.
Yeah.
You started wrestling recently, I think in the last couple years.
Yeah, I had my first match in November 2023. It was for a charity event. I thought I was just going to sign autographs and like take selfies with kids and stuff. I was just trying to help out. And then dude just asked me, do you want to be in a match? And I'm like, wow, Sami Callihan, a wrestler I admire, is giving me an opportunity to have a match on a show that has Ronda Rousey and Jacob Fatu and John Moxley. Like, this is kind of special. I'm gonna say yes. So I took some classes and got in the ring, and you know, a lot of people can say what they want, but I showed that match to Hall of Famers, and they're all saying the same thing. They're like, "That's your first match?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "If you got in shape and wanted to do this, and we already know you can act and talk on a microphone," they're like, you could do this thing if you want to. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have said that. You know, and I can't use the excuse on my wife anymore. Like, not everything's going to be a charity event, you know?
Yeah.
So I got into it and just ingratiated myself and took bookings, and you can make a little bit of money. You have a ton of fun, and it's a calculated risk. I've always done my own stunts in my movies. 90% of them I always do, unless they literally have someone pull me aside and say, hey, we talked to the insurance company. We're not going to put you on wire work.
We don't need you dead, bro.
Right. But I dude, I dreamt of this stuff.
Yeah.
I dreamt of getting to do a scene in a Spike Lee film where I have to dive over a rock because there's gunfire. Like, that wasn't even in the movie. I said to Spike, I go, what does my character do? And he goes, I don't know. It's not in the script. I'm like, can I do something? Like, can I dive over that rock? And he was like, can you clear it? And I was like, yeah. So they put some mats down and covered it with brush. And
I love Spike Lee.
I did like 5 in a row and, you know, hit it every time. And he, you know, the crew clapped and Spike gave me a hug after it. And it was like, you know, you dream of those moments. So wrestling all the more. The first time I saw it, I was like 4 years old, hanging out with my uncle, watching a free pay-per-view called Clash of the Champions.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first match I ever saw was Arn Anderson and Barry Windham versus Flying Brian Pillman and El Gigante. And now I'm like wrestling Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson's son.
Yeah.
in this company, MLW. And it's like,
MLW.
Shout out.
dude, like it's so full circle and so insane.
You know, it's like the perfect storm, though, for you, I think, in
Well,
wrestling.
the acting clearly gave me a push into access to the world.
The better you do on the screen, it's like anything. That's your number one. That's your main thing. Keep the main thing, and everything else will come. But like perfect storm by the whole wrestling situation. You were a kid. You loved wrestling. You're clearly a performer. I mean, I love in Blackbird. Like you know how to act.
Thanks,
you're a fucking actor, bro. Like you're a real actor. So you know how to act. You love wrestling. Did you play sport?
I played sports. I just wasn't like a
because you jumped
standout
over
in
rocks, so you're showing athleticism.
Right. I was like Farley, where I was like nimble.
Yes.
Like I could tear up a dance floor and kick over my head and take bumps,
Flexibility,
and do stuff.
pliability, as Tom Brady would say. So you're pliable. You put all those together. I mean, why aren't you wrestling? You should be wrestling.
Yeah, it's also just, Eric Bischoff of WCW fame, he always talks about the buffet of wrestling.
Yeah.
He's like, you go to a buffet, you're not eating every damn thing on the line, but you're grabbing the stuff you like. And it's like, same with Saturday Night Live. You can watch 90 minutes SNL and you only like 2 sketches, but now you're quoting that sketch with your friend. That's part of the fabric of pop culture. So it's like wrestling is no different. I'm part of the buffet. There are dudes who look at me and they're like, I'm not eating that shit. But it's like, okay, that's fine, dude. But just know that there's a little kid who loves Cruella, the Disney movie I did, who shows up and they've never had a celebrity of any kind in their hometown because it's a small town. And they're getting a kick out of seeing me do a suplex. They love it. So it's like, it's okay. I don't need to be liked by everybody, but I do have to have a certain acumen. So I take those classes with wrestlers and I brush up and I watch a lot of tape.
Yeah, you got to watch tape.
I also I lost 30 pounds in the last 2 months. I got on Mounjaro, which is like Ozempic. I got on that and I've been working out and stuff. And I feel exponentially better.
People are getting mad at you for bettering yourself.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of haterade you just can't believe is even on the shelf. You don't even look at it. Can't even look at it.
That's G2.
G2. We're healthy now, are you? It says aspartame and a couple words I can't pronounce.
Can't either. I can't read.
I can't read.
It's loosely true. Take us through your development of your persona.
Wrestling persona?
Yeah, your
well,
wrestling
I mean,
persona.
I really play myself right now. I'm literally going as Paul Walter Hauser and I got a couple gimmicks of merch and stuff that I have. I have a headband because, everybody loves Cobra Kai and they look at me like I'm Stingray. And so I have a karate headband that says wrestling is not fake, you're fake. I sell those and stuff. But I'm playing myself
You got a
right
little
now.
Mankind to you.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Little Mankind. That's like some mankind shit.
Yeah. Well, I also do some stuff he did. Like I do a somersault senton off the apron, which I saw Mick Foley do in 1992, fighting Sting. He had this innovative, reckless offense. So I pepper in some of my favorite stuff from other wrestlers.
How sore are you after a fucking match?
Depends on the match.
Yeah.
I had a match in Seattle for a company called Defy. And they've been around for a while. Very celebrated, classy wrestling outfit in Seattle. But I wrestled Joey Janela, who's one of the most dangerous dudes in the game. I mean, he made his reputation off these hardcore matches where he severed and lost part of his finger and stuff, crazy stuff.
Ronnie Lott. He's Ronnie Lott of wrestling.
Ronnie Lott.
Remember he cut off his pinky?
What?
San Francisco 49er safety, legendary Hall of Fame safety. Broke his finger in the middle of a regular season game and said, cut it off, I'm still playing.
Wow, he makes Lyle Alzado look like Mark Chimura.
We were talking about Lyle the other
talking
week.
Lyle.
I just want
Howie
to drop
Long.
those names. I just want to say Mark Chimura and Lyle Alzado. Lyle Alzado off the field also was in Ernest Goes to Camp. He played the heavy.
I loved my favorite Ernest. I saw you have it tattooed. My favorite Ernest was Ernest Scared Straight.
Scared Stupid.
Stupid.
Scared Straight would have been another prison.
Yeah.
He already did Ernest Goes to Jail.
That one was always super creepy to me. I loved watching that one.
It was legitimately scary.
Yeah.
The trolls, you were like, they're not fun.
The tree and shit.
The trolls
troll.
kind of had a snotty aesthetic to their skin and their faces.
Now, does John Cena kind of look like Ernest?
very much so. Him and Simon Rex would definitely be in the running to play Jim Varney.
Yeah.
Maybe Andy Samberg, maybe.
Now, what's your finishing move in wrestling?
I call it the house arrest and HAUS arrest, which Wahlberg made fun of me for months over that name. I'd be like HAUS, house arrest, and for Hauser, and he'd be like, wow, that is so brilliant. Like, wow. Like, just like, he'd be like HAUS, right? And I'd be like, I hate you. God, I got made fun of for that. But it's a flatliner where you throw a guy on their face. And honestly, I play with like these action figures and try moves out all the time. And I kind of created this version of the move, and I didn't realize it until I was hanging out with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch from WWE.
Yeah.
They were
Becky came on.
They were so, yeah.
She's badass.
Dude, she's super cool. But I showed her the move, and she goes, you reckon anyone's done that? And I was like, I don't know if anyone's done it. I do it. And she's like, you might have made up a move, man. And I was like, thinking about it, and I'm like, it's like a straitjacket style flatliner where you put their arms behind their back and hit it. I don't know that I have seen that. So it was cool that like this move, whether you want to make fun of it or not, Mark.
Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. Come on, Wall.
I'm never eating at Wahlburgers again unless I get a discount from knowing you. I had a moment where I was like, dude, that's really tight that no matter what anybody thinks of the move, it's like I kind of created it. And that's like the coolest for me as a kid growing up. It's like, that's so cool that maybe someday someone else will use it who's way more athletic than me and looks awesome doing it. But yeah, to have your own move is pretty cool.
1,000%. It's so hard to come up with your own move. I used to get so mad when Diamond Dallas Page would do the diamond cutter, and I would look at Steve Austin. I was like, that's the same fucking thing, isn't it? It's the same move almost.
You're falling instead of sitting on the stunner. But then Randy Orton did the RKO, which is the diamond cutter.
A lot of similarities.
And by the way, freaking DDP learned the diamond cutter from, what's the guy's name? I think his name's Ace Steel.
Was it?
There's some guy named it might have been Johnny Laurinaitis. He ended up being part of like the top brass in WWE and was one of
Laurinaitis?
Yeah.
Was it the Spikes guy?
No, but related to that guy, they're brothers.
Because which his son, I played against his son.
Yeah. So this would have been his uncle.
Yeah.
His uncle is who DDP got the diamond cutter from. I think he used to do it in Japan.
Laurinaitis.
And it looked really lame where like instead of like grabbing the head and slamming down, it was like he grabbed the head like lightly at waist level and just like take 3 steps and fall with him.
Yeah.
So like each guy made it look cooler, DDP and then Randy Orton with the RKO.
Jeez.
Wow.
But you made your own move. That's fucking sick.
Really cool. Straitjacket style flatliner known as the house arrest, which I do want to reinvent myself and be more of a character. I don't want to just be me, the actor. So whenever that happens, maybe there'll be a new name for that.
That'll probably be if you go to a different league or something. That's usually what happens. When you go to like...
Or do what Sting did. Sting stayed in WCW.
He did.
And he just became like the Crow Sting, and it was so over. But it was over because, and I talked to Court Bauer, the MLW founder. We talk all the time about purpose. And it's like the best wrestling is when the storyline, the wrestler is wrestling for a reason. There is a purpose. And you're fighting against not just a group of guys, but their ideals and their purpose.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can lock into that, that's when people are like drawn in.
Yeah. Authenticity.
The bloodline, the NWO, like these things work because there's a real story.
Yeah. That's in anything, I feel.
Yeah.
What other actors do you think that could jump into the wrestling ring? That would be good.
There's a few, man.
I bet you. I mean, people don't realize that wrestlers are like really, they're performing like that. I know it's athletically crazy, and it is very dangerous because even if it's choreographed, the movement is still like
the littlest thing could throw it off. Yeah,
but like it's so impressive to watch a lot of these wrestlers go and like be able to entertain 35,000 people or the whole stadium.
It's a big deal.
And they're performing, and like you're like they didn't even fuck up their own line, and they're coming off the dome, and they're, you know what I mean? Like
and some of them have to be word perfect. If one of the top brass says you got to hit these words or hit this line, it's like, okay, don't screw that up. You got one take.
So what actor?
One take.
What actor's in there?
Ethan Suplee.
Ethan
My
Suplee.
buddy Ethan, he could do it for sure. He's the guy who lost all that weight and now he's like jacked.
Yeah.
I think there are guys like Kevin James wrestled in high school. He wrestled with Mick Foley. Kevin James decided to drop 20, 30 pounds. He could come in and tear it up.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Who do you see?
Who do I see?
Chris Hemsworth almost played Hulk Hogan. I mean, he was ready
Yeah. Well, you could have Wahlberg out there like as D-Generation X in there, fucking giving a bunch of suckets and shit.
John Barenthal would be great.
John Barenthal would be
amazing.
Very good wrestler. But he'd be legit. He'd be like a Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit style where you like believe this dude is just tearing people in half.
1,000%.
You know who would be really good is my buddy Kevin Durand. He's predominantly a character actor. I just worked with him on Naked Gun, but this dude is massive.
Oh yeah.
He looks the part.
In great shape. That one of him shirtless. Click on that. That dude could go tear it up tomorrow.
He could be a good heel.
And he's a good actor too. Like he's a believable actor.
How about my man from Reacher, bro? Alan
The Reacher
Alan
guy.
Richardson, bro.
Oh,
He is-
Reacher guy's
Thad
pretty
Castle?
jacked and
Oh,
big.
man.
And he's a former football player.
Alan Richardson.
Beast.
Yeah.
He knows him. See?
Dude's a killer.
You're fucking cool. You're good hang. You're good hang.
So Jules is starting to do a little bit of acting.
Oh, hell yeah.
I
Dude,
know,
you know what's funny is the moment I walked in, within 3 or 4 minutes in my head, I'm like, this dude could act. Because no. Like legitimately, you know quickly. If you know, you know. And it's somewhat about the look. It's very much about the presence and the vibe. And then it's also about like, okay, well, do they want to do it? Because you have to want to do it too. Some people will be like, yeah, I got pulled into this thing. I didn't really care. And I'm like, yeah, I could tell you didn't care.
No,
Like it's nice when someone does care and they try and it works.
I'm really interested in it.
Genuinely.
I have been. I mean, I used to do a bunch of. I always do like the plays in school and like junior high. I always had an infatuation. I like performing. Like when we started doing our little spoof videos, I always got comfortable in front of a camera, and I like making people laugh with certain things. But it also, I'm interested because it'd be stepping into something I'd be so uncomfortable kind of really doing that it's intrigued me.
Now, what is uncomfortable? The actual act of doing it or the environment of being like,
The
oh
environment
man, I don't belong here.
No, it's the environment, and it's also the pressure of being like in the huddle with Tom Brady. I don't want to fuck up my job for people that are taking, like, I'll get an opportunity because of my football career.
But because you're an athlete, they'll have more grace for you and they'll be more comforting.
I know, but like this is their thing. I don't want to cut, like that's the only thing that gives. And remember my lines.
Yeah.
All right, remember my lines.
Reading your lines, really.
Reading my lines. It's hard to read.
I can teach you my method for line memorization, which I
would
stand
love
by.
that.
It's just
I'm
very
not
much
joking.
you only learn one page at a time. So you'll always kind of know the beginning better than any part, but it'll make sense to you because you know each piece of the puzzle to where you're not going to forget the end because you've felt the journey of the actual words. You know they make sense to you because you know why they're there. And knowing why is part of intellectualizing how to memorize the lines rather than just being like, and then you say that, so I say this. It's like, yeah, caveman, do that. Like,
It's very similar to learning an offense. Okay,
probably.
when you learn there's concepts. So you have a 3-man concept. One word can tell 3 guys what to do.
Yeah.
Now you can learn on just what you do in that thing.
Yep.
But if you learn conceptually, like you say, if you're learning everything, then it'll come naturally in your subconscious better, I feel.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. And it's repetition too, man. I mean,
Reps.
the more I wrestle, I tell everybody, I go, to be honest, like maybe I started wrestling at like a 45 out of 100
Yeah.
or a 35 out of 100.
As long as you're getting up.
But if I get 1% better every match,
Yep.
20 matches, you're going to be able to tell the difference. And I think people who watch my first match and my 15th match, it's very obvious that you're getting better, even if it's 1%.
That's what I said with Tom Brady in his announcing career. I said, he ain't going to be. Everyone asked me, preseason, how do you think Tom Brady's going to do? And I was like, I don't really know yet. I think he's going to be great. But I'll tell you one thing I can guarantee. He'll be different from week 1 than week 17 because he's going to continue to try to improve, and you'll see his improvement.
I love that. I love that quality in people, which is the desire to be better, and also being able to recognize, like, this is step 1. Yeah. And, like, I don't have to feel insecure about step 1 because it by nature is step 1. It's not because I'm a step 1 guy. Yeah. It's because this is step 1, bro. It's okay.
Nothing gets me more worked up than when plans go sideways. You're all set up for a barbecue, and then out of nowhere, it starts raining. Now, old me would be fuming, but retired me, I choose chill. Here in the Nut House, we learn from the school of intensity, but now we're professors of chill. Whether it's after a few rounds of pool that got way too competitive or just kicking back after a long day, I reach for that Blue Mountain cold refreshment of a Coors Light. There's something about a cold one straight from the cooler that just hits different. So the next time life throws you a curveball, do yourself a favor, make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment, crisp, clean, and as refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado beer. Oh, and if you don't feel like making a beer run, we've got you covered. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Just hit up CoorsLight.com/GWN. Cheers. Let's jump into a segment. We go back in a time where the game took place or the match took place.
This is so funny. I love this.
We go over pop culture. This match took place December 14th, 2014. Number 1 movie, Exodus. I loved this movie. Christian Bale was fucking stud.
Oh, I hated that movie. You liked that movie?
I liked that movie.
Okay.
Why did you not like it?
I just thought it was weak sauce. I didn't buy.
I just like the story.
I didn't buy
the book of Exodus.
It's dope as shit. Yeah.
And I like Christian Bale.
Dude, Christian Bale can do no wrong in my eyes.
Was it bad? Is my movie, did I just get mind fucked?
I don't think, no.
Does that mean my movie
ability? Bro, no. Ridley Scott, the Bible, Christian Bale. It is more than okay to like that movie. It just wasn't my vibe.
All right. Well, both our vibe, we can agree on this. Number 1 song, Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Tay-tay.
Girl dad. You're gonna be a girl dad here soon. I've taken my daughter to this concert. We went to the concert. Taylor Swift is amazing.
How dope was it when Taylor re-recorded all her music so that she had the ownership on the recordings? Well, it's basically her saying fuck you to these people that she felt were doing her dirty, and so she just re-recorded everything so she can own her own music. I thought that was sick.
That's sick, but I don't understand the legal on that. So is it the same exact song? But she recorded. No,
it's the same song, but it's the idea of like, I am recording this differently so that this is its own thing, and you can't say that it's identical to the original recordings. It's essentially me making a pizza at your pizzeria, and you're like, well, now I own your pizza recipe. And I'm like, listen, bitch, I'm going to go open up my own pizzeria and serve the exact same thing. And because I'm using a different ingredient in the pizza crust, you can't say it's your pizza.
But I just want to know what the different ingredient is.
Oh, that's what you want to know.
That's what
the literal nature of the
I want to know the literal different ingredient of the song.
In your face, Scooter Braun.
Sony cancels its release of The Interview following cyber attacks. I went to the premiere of that movie in downtown LA, and the vibe was awkward. It was like a red carpet, a step and repeat, and then a bomb squad. It was weird. That was a weird premiere to go to. I'll never forget that.
North Korea, the thing.
Seth Rogen.
I remember I ran into Rogen in the hallway of the after party. And this is back, I'm sober now, but this is back when I was going hard. And I was like drunk walking up to Bill Maher going, I love your show, Real Talk. And he's like, real time. And I'm like, yeah. And I ran into Rogen. He's got a joint in his hand. And I'm all excited to meet him, and he looks depressed. Not because I'm there, but he's like in a mood. And some like PR person's like, Seth, we got to pull you away. We got to have you talk to so-and-so. And he's like, clearly he doesn't want to talk. and he's hitting a joint and he stares at me and he goes, super slow, like passing the joint really slow, as if like passing a chalice off from a king to a pauper. And I take the joint and I say to Seth, I grab his arm as he's walking away. I go, hey man, you made another really good movie. Like as if to say, like, I know what this feels like right now to some degree. And he went, thanks, man. And like walked away. Thanks, man.
The studio is great.
And I hit the joint and it was like, and I passed it to my buddy Julian. We were both just like in awe. We're like, whoa, Seth Rogen passed us a joint, you know?
His new TV show is awesome, The Studio.
The Studio.
I haven't seen it yet, but
haven't seen it yet
It's
either.
tight.
it looks
Great.
like the most Paul Hauser show ever. It's like, we're going to talk about Hollywood and do a bunch of cool cameos, and all the greatest funny people in the world are in this show.
Yeah.
Scorsese acting?
So what was life for you like in 2014?
I was watching all that dope ass TV. Fargo and True Detective. Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Super Bowl champs, Patriots. Way to
Pats.
go. Way to go.
That was
Shout
my
out to
first
Danny
one.
Woodhead. Way
Woody.
to go.
Hey.
Are you a Wood fan? Woody?
I always liked him. I always thought like a lot of guys got more credit, but I thought he was so consistent, man.
He's a great teammate, worked hard.
You could tell.
He was a fun guy to be around.
MVP Aaron Rodgers,
Aaron.
NCAAF champion. Screw Ohio State. I'm from Michigan.
That's right.
Hey, shout out Matt Patricia, though.
Matty P.
Matty P.
Heisman, Marcus Mariota.
Mariota. Went to Oregon. He was very good.
Mariota by Bonvoy.
He just signed with someone. Wait, what?
I made a very dumb hotel
That was a great
joke.
Marriott joke. That was a very good
Marriott by
Marriott joke.
Bonvoy. Mariota by Bonvoy.
That hit.
So
By the way, December 14, 2014, you know what was also going on?
what?
Jared Fogle, we didn't know he was a pedophile yet.
Wow.
He was still eating Subway.
How little we knew. Think about that. If we didn't know Jared from Subway was a gross little freak, then what don't we know now? Who else is a gross little freak who's going to get brought out?
Wow. You're right.
I don't know.
Isn't that a mind blow?
That is a mind
Pick
blow.
a random person. Pick a dumb nerd in glasses who's like, I lost weight eating sandwiches. Like, who is that now?
Tim Tebow.
They'll come out.
No way.
There's always one.
Man.
Tebow's the real deal. That guy intimidates me because he's just got a better heart than me.
He intimidates.
I almost don't want to meet him just because I'm like, you're a better person than me. I can't do it.
He's intimidating because he's given like 1,500 circumcisions.
Circumcisions.
Circumcising. Circumcision. Circumcision.
A bris?
He's literally circumcised thousands of kids in Philippines. Probably going to get sued for that.
But
Allegedly.
You might be padding his
for the-
stats a little bit.
For the
too.
record, it sounds like there was likely a purpose and that he wasn't just going down there for.
No.
That trip
No.
The trip in general sounds more
It
business
sounds
than
worse than
pleasure,
it
to be
is.
fair. It's more business.
But it's actually a very great thing. He was doing a great thing. But
Yeah.
that's intimidating. He's got surgical hands. It's intimidating to be around.
Steady hand.
Steady hand.
This every show can exist in like a. These are pretty standalone episodes, but a constant through line is Tim Tebow circumcisions.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah,
up too
It
much.
comes up quite a bit
could
on the
it
show.
not?
You're kind of hitting the greatest hits. Danny Woodhead comes up every show.
Does anyone else feel like their thighs are gonna?
Yeah, Danny Woodhead would come up to you, and he'd have like the funniest, most wholesome way of complaining. We'd be in there after like 7 double days, and he'd sit in his locker and he'd go, "Jules, do your hamstrings feel like they're in the back of a Chinese restaurant getting chopped up by a butcher?"
It gets me every time.
I'm like, what? He goes, my hamstrings are tired. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. He would always come up with something
A
crazy.
wonderful analogy.
Like,
yeah.
wonderful, like, hey, do your quadriceps feel like they just got sunken?
I started doing that as a result of a joke in Anchorman because they keep walking by smelling Paul Rudd's perfume.
It probably-
Judd
it was during
Apatow is
that-
like Apatow is like he does a cameo and he goes, "It smells like the inside of an artificial leg."
Bigfoot's dick.
Bigfoot's dick, poop with burnt hair on it. Like I do that all the time where
Yes.
I'm just like, I'll taste. They'll be like, try this sauce, and I'll put it on my food, and I'll taste it, and I'll go, no. They're like, what do you mean no? And I'll be like, it literally tastes like a demon's saliva. I'm not eating it. Or a good version where it's like, how was that water? Oh, how was the water? Tasted like an angel gleeked in my mouth. That's what it tasted like.
What about the opening of Superbad when they're sitting there talking about their mom and learning her that you had to get a certain porn site so she wouldn't understand it?
Perfect 10.
Yeah, and he goes, "What are you talking about?" It was like the first time I was listening to the Beatles, or her eyes are like the first time I listened to the Beatles.
It's hysterical.
I love
Could
those
be a bowling website.
Superbad is undefeated, man. That movie's dope.
That because and how old are you?
I was born in '86.
I'm an '86 kid too, so like that was right when we were
Hit
going.
at the perfect time.
You know what I mean?
We
We
just
were in
graduated
high
high
school,
school,
going
yeah.
to college, and it was like that was our life.
There was Superbad 07 or 06? Can you look that up?
7.
In the words of Joe Rogan, well, Jamie, can we link to that?
07.
Jamie, can we link to that? Yeah, we'll put a link to it. I'm gonna say something outrageous and then not explain it. We'll link to it, Jamie. Sorry, that's me making fun
was a great
of Joe
Rogan.
Rogan.
August 17th, 2007.
August 17, 2000. Okay, but there was a time where like 07 to 08, the comedies that came out were ludicrous. It was literally like Superbad, Hot Rod, Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers, and Pineapple Express within a year and a half. It was psychotic.
I watched Tropic Thunder like a month ago. I was like, they couldn't make this movie now.
Knocked Up was 07. Yeah, I mean, it was
Knocked Up was good.
Role
awesome
Models,
time.
Dodgeball was 04.
Great
Wedding
time.
Crashers 05.
I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of why I now pronounce you Chuck and
Napoleon
Larry.
Dynamite was 04.
Yeah.
Man, what a
Oh,
run.
dude, Team America
Step Brothers.
was 04
Team
or
America.
05, I think.
Take me back.
America.
Borat 06.
Jeez.
Good Lord.
Hangover 09.
Why did we had just a streak of undeniably brilliant comedies, and nowadays it's like impossible to find one.
We're also getting older, and our comedy is different than the younger comedy.
That's fair.
But isn't it about the
You know what I
DVD
mean? That's
sales,
that's
too?
what every
No one's
generation
buying
says.
DVDs, and DVDs was running the whole comedy market.
It's probably
Yeah.
different in movie industry more, but like in the locker room, it's the same thing. Like the older
Yeah.
guys are always making fun of the younger guys for being softer. And I look back when I was a rookie compared to the guys that were playing that were 10 years in the league. Then I was like, damn, we are soft compared to that. Just like, or whatever, you know, it's just like time. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that I like that you're coming from a place of logic. Too many people come from a place of emotionality, and then they're unaware that they sound stupid.
Yeah. I come from that place a lot too, though.
Well, that's human, but some people overdo it where you're like, you might need to be in social timeout.
Have you met Asaf?
A what?
Exactly. Oh my Just jump into the match, Jackie.
Luke Harper, aka John Huber, was 30 years old when he did this match. That is, for wrestling, 30 is kind of your prime because you've had enough years in your 20s to learn the craft and the business, but you're not old enough to where you're limited in your moveset. 30's great.
I would say in football,
Similar?
I would say my primus of the prime years for me was like 28 to 30. It's because your athletical pinnacle is still not tapering. You're still on kind of the up.
Yeah.
You're at that top, but your mind reaches, like you're saying, because of the years of experience,
Yup.
you gain, your mind goes. And now after that year, your mind will continue to raise, but that's when your athleticism will taper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably very similar to wrestling.
That's such a quarterback thing too, where they hang on and you want them to hang on till they're 44, 45, but it's like
There's only one guy can
by
do that.
38, 39, it's just very obvious something's changed.
But it's changing also, and that example is changing just because of the rule changes.
No offense, Jules, but I think I know more about football than you. So is this something preposterous?
It was good. I believed it.
That's a very Galifianakis thing to say, you know? No offense, Julian, but I think I know more about wearing black clothing than you do.
I mean, I'm wearing gray socks.
I'm wearing white.
We got
Oh, Ziggler, what a stud, dude.
Beast.
Nick Nemeth, hell yeah.
shout out to
He
Kent
looks like
State,
a Dolph
baby.
Ziggler too.
A real wrestler turned TV wrestler who also now does stand-up comedy.
Absolute, like we alluded to this earlier, Paul, but absolute workhorse, wouldn't you say?
He's undeniably a future WWE Hall of Famer, future TNA Hall of Famer. The guy put in work like nobody's business. And one of my favorites for sure. I don't think he breaks the top 10 for me, but he might be a top 20 for me for sure.
Who's top 10?
My top 10 sometimes will change. Right now, it's for sure Sting, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, Arn Anderson, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, Mick Foley, Dustin Rhodes. And that 10th is what changes sometimes. But today, I'll say Rey Mysterio today.
Hell yeah.
Or Kenny Omega. Either one could be there. Ziggler's top 20, though.
And we're all about celebrating Kent State Golden Flashes in the Nut House. As Nick Nemeth graduated Kent State as a career leaders in victories, 121, four-time NCAA qualifier. What a beast. This dude's a beast.
Kent State, go Flashes.
His brother, Ryan, is one of the first people to train me in the ring.
No way.
And I'm forever grateful for that.
Hell yeah.
What's Dolph's special factor in wrestling?
Well, for one, he sells the hell out of the moves. So he's always making guys look crazy, powerful, and good. Almost to your own career detriment, I would say. Like it borders on that. But his deal is that he's like the perfect middleweight where he can do some high flying stuff, but he can also wrestle and do like the suplexes and the body slams. Like to me, that was always attractive if you had the duality of that. And he had that duality and could have as good of a match with Rey Mysterio as The Undertaker, you know. Shawn Michaels had that.
Yeah.
You know, Shawn was like that.
He draws the Shawn Michaels comparisons
constantly.
fair bit,
Yeah, Billy Gunn and Shawn are very much obvious influences for him.
Whose influences on you?
My influences are undeniably Arn Anderson, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Mick Foley. Those are my three. And I literally have a move called Bret Bigelow, where I do Bret Hart side Russian leg sweep. I immediately stand up, hit the ropes, and do a falling headbutt like Bam Bam.
What about for acting?
Acting? Philip Seymour Hoffman,
R.I.P.
Michael Shannon, Sam Rockwell, Peter Sarsgaard, Paul Giamatti, John Goodman for sure.
We just got to give Sam some flowers for his White Lotus performance. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, man. He might
Unreal.
walk away with a nomination over that.
Unreal.
So good.
I have mixed feelings about White Lotus. Yeah. I think it's a little too anticlimactic. They kind of just are like, watch these people on vacation. But but having said that,
Harper, no.
Having said that, that show, I've discovered so many great actors just from watching that show. Like, I love Parker Posey. She's like a top one or two favorite actor of all time for me. Her and Catherine O'Hara. I treat Cate Blanchett, Catherine O'Hara, and Parker Posey. Those three women are like Brando to me. I like them more than Marlon Brando, and I'm a male actor. Yeah. Like, I think they're brilliant. But I also like, they got Steve Zahn and they got my boy Walton Goggins, and I'm like, I can't not watch it. Even if I don't love the season or the episode, it's like they have too many good people that I don't want to miss the buzz, the public conversation over it.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
I feel like I
got to know your top three shows of all time, scripted. What are your shows?
Top three? What, like Escape from Dannemora?
Oh.
I loved that show. I like
Limited
Benicio
series.
del Toro. And they have my jersey in there.
When Del Toro goes to... Oh, that's dirty.
No, but actually, I love prison.
The penal system is fascinating.
Yeah, and I love the escaping prison, and it's a true story. I thought that was a great one.
The moment where he says to Patricia Arquette, he goes, oh, yeah, or whatever. It's like, whoa, bro. What a choice, man.
I would put
what a choice.
Blackbird in there.
Oh, sick.
Because
top three, maybe top five?
No, scripted.
Yeah,
like,
scripted.
And this is what, like, I just started getting into the deep scripted. And then I also love, like, the old, I used to love Nip Tuck when I was a kid.
Nip Tuck was great.
Remember that show?
FX was on a heater then, right?
I'm more of a movie person.
I'm more of a movie person, too.
It's so hard because I don't have the time or the attention span always to go watch 8 movies. That's what these shows are. They're 8 movies now.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean?
It's asking a lot.
And I'm like kind of dumb So I have to like when I'm watching a show, I gotta like take notes and shit, like because I wanna be able to like remember that, not take notes, but like I gotta like really pay attention.
For me, I gotta go The Wire on HBO.
Wire's insane.
The Wire's
Sopranos. I mean, we're going there.
For me, it's The Wire, Breaking Bad, because it just I cried. I mean, there were episodes where I cried.
Yeah,
if television can make you do that, like it's impressive to me. And then I love the first like 4 seasons of The West Wing. That show is,
I watched that show to go to sleep every night.
When they lost Sorkin, they lost the plot. No one gave a shit after that. But
I didn't watch That's a little West Wing. That's a little before. How old are we?
I watched it after the fact. I wasn't 12. I wasn't like 13 years old.
Yeah,
like,
I was about to say like
hell yeah, Bartlett for president.
I was. Oh man, I was.
I watched it after.
Josh Lyman, let's go.
Paul, I love you as an actor, man. You're up there for me. But Walton Goggins, I'm a full fanboy, a Goggins Glazer, man. What was it like to get to work with the legend?
Well, it's really none of your business.
I'm sorry. All right. I'll have to wait till I meet the man himself.
No, Goggins was. Listen, I'm a big Goggins guy.
Oh man,
I love him on Justified.
Legend.
I love him in frickin' the Tarantino movies. Like I think he's awesome. What I didn't know is how like he takes acting so seriously. He's so like devout and earnest in his approach and talking about it. He's very giving. He's like an emotionally generous guy. And I had a moment where on The Luckiest Man in America, which we shot together, 2023. I just had a very vulnerable moment. You ever cry when you don't plan to cry? It just kind of comes up out of nowhere when you're telling a story.
Anytime I watch Mighty Ducks.
Anytime they put that poop in the purse and the guy grabs it and chases them in fast motion.
I cry over the stupidest shit with like kids movies.
No, I can do that too. Sometimes.
Like, because it brings me to my like place of where you were with your parents, or in that, you know what I mean? Like, or like anytime winning happens in a sport movie, like when the team finally comes together.
Yeah.
Like, remember the Titans?
Oh, dude.
I started crying.
Dude, I'm not like crying at Sandlot so much, but I cry my eyes out. I remember the Titans when he's like, when Bertier, played by the wonderful Ryan Hurst.
Yes.
When Bertier starts accepting Wood Harris and starts getting in on his own teammates, like, come on, boy.
That's
like,
right side, strong side, like, that night.
And then we just like, you're my brother, Jules. I'm just like,
that like
Cat Stevens song playing. And
that is
Peace Train. Oh God.
But yes, the random crying.
Anyway, I had a moment on set where I was telling a difficult story about how I lost favor with some of my family members or friends because I chose my wife, and I knew to choose my wife over them when I got sober and went to therapy and marital counseling and took Zoloft and was like, wow, all these cobwebs just got cleared in my head and my heart. And when I felt I made the right decision, but it was still hard, really difficult.
Yeah.
And I start, we're like sharing cigarette. I'm a cigar guy. So like I handed him a cigarillo, or he had a cigarette, and we were smoking, talking between scenes. And I just started crying, and I was like, trying to pull it back. And Goggins immediately stands up and walks to me and grabs both my shoulders and my arms. And he goes, you got your own family. Like, you made the right decision. Like, you can stand by that. You can, like, just kind of gave me like an emotional pep talk that he didn't owe me at all.
Yeah.
And it was the sweetest thing, and it meant the world to me. And that's what I mean too by being emotionally available to a cast and crew. If you are so into your own thing, I understand it. You want to be great, but I do think there's a way to be able to make people feel seen even while you're doing your thing.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Goggins is that guy, man. He's the man.
That's what the great ones do.
I think.
Speaking of crying when you didn't think you were going to cry, geez, that was awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Paul.
It hit me, man. Peter Farrelly did the same thing to me on the set of the Wahlberg movie we did, where he was always emotionally available, and it meant a lot to me. And sometimes I get pissed at him. He'd be like, read the line this way. I'm like, why am I getting a line read? Like, I'm a very competent actor. But that's my ego. When I step back and I look at it from a different perspective, or I watch the footage, which I did, like Pete Fairley was right 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason he's Pete Fairley, and you gotta trust your coach. You know?
Got to trust the coach.
Dude,
We're a little tangential, but I like that we're talking about stuff we all actually care about. That's cool.
for sure, man.
That's what the Nut House brings us.
Dude, hearing about two of my guys chopping it up and sharing that moment, that got me, man. That was awesome. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, man. There's just an onion and a knife in front of him. I'm like, bro, that is really manipulative. That's
Show business,
messed
baby.
up. Are you trying to go viral, bro? What are you doing?
Show business tricks over here in the Nut House.
He's like, oh God, it's been so. Wow, the lead up.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh! Last night I went down. This is again totally way off the rails. I went down a long rabbit hole on Nikki with the Spirit Squad.
Oh, dude. Spirit Squad was great. I loved them.
Oh my gosh! But to get us back on track a little bit here, this was the Intercontinental title is on the line here.
Which to me matters more than the world. IC is like the workhorse belt.
Can you break that down for us between like the distinction between the two for the non-ball knowers?
IC title. The gentlemen who have had the IC title have to have usually a certain competency in the ring physically and technically. Whereas the world title, you could just be a big beast of a guy like Andre the Giant, be really big like Mark Henry, and have a smaller moveset, and you could still carry that title. So like the IC title for me is just like, it's almost like the SAG award. The Oscar's dope, but the Oscar is the world heavyweight title. The IC title is like the SAG awards where your peers, other actors said you're the guy.
Hell yeah!
All pro and Pro Bowl.
Yeah, 100%.
Amen.
Now tell me the distinction because I don't know.
All pros voted by players and coaches.
Yeah.
Pro Bowls by fans.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, like,
Yep.
It's internet vote.
I knew that. I just want to make sure you knew what it meant. I know more about football.
Yeah, of course.
And speaking of the IC title belt, it was changing hands a little bit around this time.
Cleveland.
The Miz had it, then Dolph Ziggler took it from him.
By the way, quick
late in
props
the
to
summer.
Miz. The Miz is
legend.
underrated. The guy can work in the ring. He's incredible on the mic. He has been selfless in his endeavors, and he has made a lot of people look good. Shout out to the Miz.
Shout out to the Miz.
Future Hall of Famer.
Hell yes.
And he golfs a lot.
Oh, he's a
right?
golfer? I didn't know that.
I've seen him golfing a bunch
He is a
on Insta.
team player, that guy. He has
Legend,
done
bro.
a lot for the WWE.
He's a real world guy, wasn't he? Real world back in the day. Heck
I used
yeah.
to love him.
So
Those challenges.
He and Dolph had a little back and forth there. Dolph took it from him late summer, held it till November. Then Luke Harper, who's coming out of his I guess you'd call it his time with the Wyatt family, with the dissolution of that, and now he's kind of into a more of the singles role. Takes it in November, holds it till our match today, where that is on the line. They had their feud going a little bit back and forth, some title defenses. You had the whole Team Cena versus the Authority with the Survivor Series going on around this time as well. And this was the first match of the night at the TLC event. This is the ladders
By the way,
match.
that's also a big deal. First match of the night is always like decided upon, like, how do we get the audience, the fans in a good place?
Got it.
It's like you gotta burn it down. You gotta grab two ballers, you know?
It's kind of like when I go to the casino. The first thing I do is I put $5,000 on black, and if it hits, it's gonna be a great night. If it doesn't, I'm fucked.
Did you learn that from Entourage? Because Vinny Chase did
wasn't
that.
No,
I guarantee you learned that from Entourage.
no, I learned it from a guy in college that probably learned it from Entourage.
Okay, there you go.
Bro, those poker games back at Kent State were legendary.
Yeah, but you weren't putting 5,000 down in college.
Speaking of Kent State, he walked in the Quickens Loan Arena with the Kent State hoodie.
Amen.
Baby.
Gangster.
No better way to start a match than the hometown kid coming back wearing the Kent State gear. The pop was insane.
Yeah, he was so over at this point, over in wrestling, you know, like,
Yeah.
like with the fans, like you are popular. He was so over at this point, and he had that freaking music he came out to was so. And take it all, like it's weird how important the entrance music is. to being
Oh
over.
man, like when
Sets
you hear
the
that
tone.
glass shatters, I'm looking at Stone
Glass
Cold
Shatter
shirt.
is the best.
Oh, that gets me every time.
Nothing touches that.
Nothing.
It's
That
it
is the
fully
best.
goated.
I remember as a kid getting so goddamn excited when I heard that Glass Shatter, stealing at my boy's house who had an illegal box so we could watch the fucking the pay-per-view match.
Yeah,
you
dude.
had one friend that had the illegal box where it was on channel
Yeah,
99.
I wasn't allowed to hang out with that kid. I just had to listen to it on the scrambled TV like it was fully clothed pornography.
Yeah. I get it. Well, there's multiple WrestleManias. We only went to that guy's house once.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you come hang out more? Wrestling's not on.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
See you, Jeff.
Your dad creeps everybody out.
Yeah.
The fact that your dad and your stepdad are cool with each other weirds us all out. We're not coming over unless you got SummerSlam.
Now,
Your cabinet has shit snacks. They're
Exactly.
all off-brand.
select.
High
Safely
drops.
select.
Yeah.
All
What
through
is this?
WrestleMania, you can't buy Doritos.
Your little Debbie's. We're a hostess
You gotta
family.
buy nacho triangles. All right, sorry.
What makes the ladder such a perfect wrestling prop?
You know, ladders are unpredictable. Some of them have, broken mid-climb.
The worst.
So, like, there is an element of extra sort of danger and uncertainty, which is always fun for the audience.
Yeah.
Probably not for the performers. And then also, like, the idea of, like, the literal climb. Like, so much of what these guys and gals do in the storylines is like, I'm climbing the mountain, it's a literal climb to win. Yeah. And so, like, I think both visually and in the circumstantial, and that you can use it as a weapon, it's just a visual feast.
Is there any time in your life that you've gone onto a ladder and not thought about wrestling? Because I do. I go on my roof at least once a month, and every time I go on my ladder, I think about doing a fucking something
You're like,
off.
man,
of it.
it'd be really cool to do a moonsault right
It
now.
would.
It just would hurt quite a bit.
This is just an OSHA violation waiting to happen, baby.
What's the Mount Rushmore of wrestling props?
Oh, wow. For as much as wrestling fans talk about wrestling, I've never heard that question. That's brilliant. I got to go with some obvious ones, which is chairs, tables, and ladders. But if there's a fourth, I don't know. What do you think? Does anything come to mind?
I mean, I always like the tacks and stuff. I always like the
Tacks
tack
are
match.
I love the tacks. I've been on some. I've been through those tacks before.
I saw that with the
I don't
Acuna
know,
jersey
as a
on.
kid, you saw blood. I was like, man, this shit's getting real.
I
love tacks. I also
love the
love the
kendo
belt.
stick.
I like when a dude would take the fucking belt and take someone else's head off.
That's dirty.
What about barbed wire wrapped
Barbed
around?
wire.
The barbed wire bat. Oh,
The
yeah.
bat.
Stairs? Don't sleep on stairs.
Don't sleep on stairs.
The
Indeed,
stairs hurt.
they make the greatest noise.
And it got the league got so smart when they put the microphone right next to it.
Yeah.
So they had mics everywhere there, so you hear the.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
I mean, that's.
The
I
little
think the
things
NFL
matter.
stole a lot from the WWF when they took over and they bought the XFL.
Yeah.
We used a lot of their things, like I think
Steadicam.
the Steadicam,
Yep, Sky
Ref
Cam.
cam, sky
There's
cam.
a couple other things that we took from wrestling because
Yep.
they're such great performers on bringing the fan inside the huddle.
The Falcons recruited He Hate Me.
Yeah,
That's right.
You hate me?
Rod
No, did
Smart.
they? I
shout
said
out.
that as a joke. Did
Panthers.
that happen?
Panthers.
No, he went to
Rod Smart played for the Panthers.
yeah, Panthers.
Yeah.
Goldberg was Falcons.
Shout out to North Carolina's Kevin Green for wrestling in WCW in the
I
mid-90s.
forgot about that. What a beast. R.I.P.,
Beast.
right? Yeah.
That guy could have wrestled forever.
I got a bit of a noob question with regarding like props in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So they always pull out ladders and chairs from underneath the ring.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like the ladder was there because they set up this ring, or is it like that's a prop that the wrestling says, hey, there's ladders under there, and that's a part of the show. Here's your props.
It's subjective, but to me, it's always the second one. Like, the fans aren't dumb enough to be like, they needed a barbed wire bat to put the ropes up. To me, it's just understood that, like, the plunder is under the ring.
Okay.
Oh, the plunder is under. I love that.
Plunder.
The plunder down
The
under.
plunder down under.
Can I follow up with another noobish question? This might be better for the fine folks at the Warner Corporation. But Warner makes a special ladder for the NCAA tournament when they cut the nets down. It's got a bigger platform up top. It's got handles on the side. Nice and safe for all the players and coaches. What about wrestling? Are these just straight up ladders? Like, is there any funny business going on with these?
I don't, as ingratiated as I am and immersed in this world, I actually don't know.
They got
I
a
truly
They look
don't
like
know.
regular. I don't think Warner's doing anything
I'll
special
say
with
this.
these.
I see guys take ladder shots where I've seen guys power bombed on them and stuff. There are still skid marks and blood all over their back. So I imagine it's a real ladder.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no real way to like bump safely on a ladder. You just got to hope to God the guy doesn't do it
James
4
Cameron
times.
actually
seriously.
bought half the WWE. Their CGI, dude.
You guys,
They're CGI, dude.
Check your eyes for the wool,
They're
my
CGI,
friend.
dude. It's fucking
Because,
so tight.
When people say wrestling's fake, you have no idea. You have no idea.
CGI, dude.
And speaking of ladders, this was just an awesome ladder match. We got climbs, pull downs, weaponizing ladders.
Great pacing.
Great pace. It was just amazing.
But by the way,
Great
they
sells.
sold for each other where there were a couple double downs.
Yes.
Now you're double down meaning, a guy does a suplex off the top rope. They're both laid out. That's a double down. So what they did here is they did not try to satisfy the impatient fan. They were saying, when we both fall from the ladder, it hurts both of us. Doesn't matter. And I appreciate that. That's kind of the MLB thing of go ahead and have the long baseball game. I will watch all of it because I know that this is what it takes. So I love those moments, and I love how the whole match really does feel like Jack and the Beanstalk. It's like Dolph is the little kid, the obvious baby face, and then the heel is this guy who looks like he's gonna, chase you up the beanstalk and kill you. It's scary.
I went to James and the Giant Peach when you were talking about the beanstalk. I don't know why I went to the movie James and the Giant Peach, and then I had to cross over in my head while you were talking about the
similar
beanstalk.
vibes.
Well, then I thought about Mario because the little beanstalk that always went up. I always thought that was the beanstalk.
Yeah.
But that's what I literally just thought.
Are you just
15
explaining your
seconds.
ADHD to us?
That's
Then I saw a squirrel out the window.
On a very special episode of the Name of Games, we will go inside the mind of Julian Edelman.
What was your favorite moment of this match?
There's a couple. I think, and this is very nice that you have the matchup opening, middle, closing. I think my favorite parts of the match are for sure when Harper stretches that ladder out onto the announce table.
Oh,
You're
I
just
love that.
oh, we're not paying this off yet, but we know it's going to pay off at some point. I love that tease. Harper's suicide dive, anytime a big guy does a big dive. And the way he landed, if you watch that suicide dive that Luke Harper did, he lands right on his arm. This is a 300-pound man falling on his arm onto a ladder, a real ladder from essentially, if you look at that photo, how high is that? It's about 7 feet.
Yeah, it's
So you look at his arm and it's immediately cut and bruised and bleeding.
no, yeah.
I love the reality of that, but best moment is for sure Ziggler getting that freaking super kick and knocking him. Wait, no, is it the super kick? What hits him onto the ladder? Because Harper falls back first onto the ladder. That's my favorite moment.
Jeez, you love this match.
It's just it's a solid match. Sometimes I love a movie and it's people are like, really, that movie? It's not that they don't think it's good. It's that it's not as sexy as the more famous ones. And I'm more into something that I just think is super solid. I always ask my friends the question, what's your death row meal? What's your death row meal? What do you choose? You can choose anything to eat before you die.
Easy,
And sometimes people are like, salmon, asparagus. And I'm like, bitch, what? I'm like, salmon and asparagus. And they're like, so it's a good meal. Sorry, it's not sexy enough, but that's my death row meal. I love that.
Yeah,
Jules has deviled eggs on it.
I love deviled eggs as an appetizer.
I didn't have a deviled egg. I never ate a deviled egg until I was at Sundance at the High West Whiskey Restaurant with my friend Abby. That was the first time I had a deviled egg. And I put it off for years. I'm like, it looks weird. Everybody's mom's making them. I don't know what's in there. And then I had it, and I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Now, was it a sweet relish deviled egg, or was it a spicier deviled egg?
This thing had a sliver of a jalapeno with some sauce and some bacon.
Yeah,
It was
I like that.
Yeah.
My mom used to make them with. I liked a little sweeter of it.
My deviled egg experience was a big deal for me. I don't know how to. Maybe I'm not.
Well, they
underscoring
use
that enough.
relish because all it
It
is
was
is
like
mayonnaise.
losing
You
your
take the yolk-
virginity
yeah.
to a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader or something.
Laker.
Very
Yeah.
big deal.
I understand. Deviled egg. I mean, it's on my death row.
Sorry, a New England Patriots cheerleader or something.
No, Dallas is way better.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know some of this.
But to wrap this up,
This
another.
is so cool that you guys have the aftermath. I didn't know half of this.
The ending of this match was awesome. Of course, the hometown kid takes it, uses a ladder as a bridge to the ladder that is still standing, gets up there. Then Luke Harper comes around, sets up another ladder, so it's a parallel climb. Ziggler hits him with a bow. Super kick gets him off, and he captures that belt that was dangling up
Poor
on the
choice of
ring.
words. He falls off. Luke Harper received 13 stitches in his head after the match. Did not know that.
Brutal.
Ladder, real ladder.
This gave Ziggler his 4th IC title, 6 total. I did know that. Ziggler finally defeated Seth Rollins on SmackDown soon after that, I guess. Is
2
that what
days
it's saying?
later.
2 days later.
That's a big moment, too, because Rollins was becoming a made man around then.
Big time.
Rolling Stone named Ziggler 2014 Wrestler of the Year. Did not know that. I'm sure that match had something to do with it. Ziggler held the belt for 22 days. Oh, what a trash reign that is. Bad News Barrett. I'm sure Vince McMahon made that decision.
Seems like a Vince decision.
Fucking idiot.
Dude, he's the dumbest. Everyone's like, you can't take away everything Vince did, though. I'm like, yes, I can. Eat shit. Ziggler remained perfect in ladder matches. Love that. That's
3-0.
cool. That's cool. That's like when a team is like undefeated in a city. It's like, we've never lost in Detroit.
Yeah.
Luke Harper passed. Oh, that sucks. I'm buddies with his wife, is the widow, Amanda Huber. I see her at AEW all the time, and she is the sweetest, coolest. Her kids are awesome. She still loves wrestling, and you know, she burns a bright light for him. And when I can't imagine how hard that is, man. She burns a bright light, that lady.
Shout out to her. That's
Shout out to
tough.
Luke Harper for being one of the greats, man.
Shout out.
One of the greats.
R.I.P.
For real.
That's awesome that you picked this match. What's the legacy of this match?
For me, it's just a great match to go back to for entertainment value, for honoring the guys who weren't at the top most of the time. And also just teaching the young guys how to do it and say, like, look at the pacing and look at why the moments matter. They're not doing 9 million flips and 9 million chair shots like they do today. Why do you think that is? It's so that you appreciate it when it does happen.
Yeah.
So this is just a style that is almost going away with the current trends. And you know, Huber and Ziggler, it's also, I think they had good chemistry. I don't know that they knew they would have that chemistry, but they did.
They had great chemistry.
And that's, you know, when we talk about Brett and Shawn, the chemistry there, when we talk about, you know, Rock Austin, whoever, this is one that I always go back to. I'm like, those guys had good chemistry. I like that. And actors too, you know, it's fun to watch a movie and go, the movie was good. It didn't win like a bunch of Oscars, but like, man, I got to see like the movie The Judge. You're watching Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
I know it's not everyone's favorite movie, but it's still Duvall.
Great
and
movie.
Jeremy Strong's in that too.
Chemistry.
Jeremy
like you said.
Strong, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Would you trade your Emmy for a wrestling belt, championship, intercontinental belt?
Damn, that's like a hard question to answer on camera. Well, people don't really vote on belts either. You know, that's like an executive decision. So it does feel good to have people vote. And
you never
say
have you would never give your Emmy for a belt, but like hypothetically, would you?
If somebody said to me, if somebody did a pre-mortem and they were like, you know, yo, you can either be an IC title holder or win an Emmy, I would want the IC title for sure.
That's what I thought. Just from getting to know you a little bit on the couch right now, you definitely take the title. Now let's name this game and score the game. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. These are some names that we came up with. If you have a name that you have in your head that you want to use, we can use that. But here are some things that we came up with. Show stealer, disrespect my authority. Told you can't read. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my.
Oh my.
Cleveland, this is for you. I'm getting my belt back. Cut and ladders. Shooting ladders?
A little shooting ladders.
I like that one. Chekhov's ladder.
Chekhov's ladder.
Chekhov's ladder.
Alluding to that ladder that was precariously placed from the ring to the announcer's table that
Oh, that's too smart for me. I didn't get that one.
See, exactly. I'm right there with you, Bubs. I can't even read it. Or do you have something else?
I think I like boots and ladders.
Oh,
Boots and ladders.
Luke Harper with that boot.
Boots and ladders. Score the game. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score.
Score the game.
The stakes of the game, 0 to 10, decimals okay. You got to score the stakes of the game.
I'm gonna say like a 7.
7. That's integrity type score. I'm going with 7 as well. Intercontinental. It's not. I know we went down the differences.
Yeah.
Still not the big dog though.
And it's not WrestleMania or SummerSlam. It's
Yeah.
I'm going with 7-9. I'm an Intercontinental man.
Oh,
I went with
Jackie.
a straight 3. Just it's entertainment product versus like Super Bowls and stuff.
What about the star power of this match?
At that time, being realistic, that's probably a 5.5. Just being honest.
Integrity.
Yeah, you got to be honest, man.
5.5 as well.
I can't worry about Nick Nemeth watching this and be like, "What do you mean it was a 5.5?" It's like, bro, I'm not your favorite movie actor. Like, I'm not your number one. Like, it's okay. We can say what it is.
I went with a 6-4.
I did a 5.1.
We're all in the same ballpark here.
Game play or the match play?
Oh man. To me, it's like a 9.
It was a great match, like you said. Everything was methodically thought out. It wasn't just, let's throw a chair here. Let's build shit up.
The athleticism on display was unreal.
It's also the two men. Nowadays, they always have people run in and like, the guys who are friends with the wrestler are now helping. It's like, there were no run-ins. We didn't need a bunch of cameos. It was just two dudes.
Mano y mano.
Mano y mano.
I'm going to go with 8.
At an 8.6.
I had 8.1.
Anytime a 6'7" guy's doing a dang suicide dive out of the gets me going.
It's gnarly.
Now, we scored the name of the game, the name of the match.
Cultural impact of the game.
Cultural
or match.
impact. Boots and ladders. 0 to 10 decimals, okay.
Oh, cultural impact, it wasn't really there, unfortunately. I would say like a 4. 4.5.
I go 5.2.
Had a old 7.3.
At a 1.2.
I was high. I was going high.
Where does it score on all the games that we've done and matches we've done?
It's a 6.2. That puts us right at 81, ahead of the fake spike game, 2013, Week 8, Lions versus Cowboys, and just behind the Gilbert Arena 60-point game, 2006, Game 23, Wizards versus Lakers.
Very solid.
Where is that list online? Can I read that whole list somewhere?
We should publish this.
We can send it to you.
You guys
A fan
gotta post
published
that.
it.
That'd be so fun for people to then like search those out.
Here's the top.
Amen.
The I Quit match is 33 here.
Oh wow. Any other wrestling matches?
Yeah,
or
the
just
Becky
those
2 belts when she headlined WrestleMania 35.
2 belts.
Yeah, that's 21st. And then where's the Shawn Michaels?
We had the Iron Man
Is that when
match.
Austin fought Kevin Owens?
The Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12. Michaels and Bret Hart.
Where's
from
that?
the pond in Anaheim.
Oh wow.
Where's that?
Where's
Where's
that?
36.
36 right here. Yeah.
We had Shawn Michaels on for that.
Well, at
one.
least you guys actually have like good.
We got some good
on there.
matches.
Yeah, like legit. Like I know what all those are. Yeah.
As
awesome.
a head, Paul, do you have any that we should seek out to do?
Oh yeah,
They come to
man,
mind.
absolutely. And I could put you in touch with some dope wrestlers who come on
man.
in a
We love
heartbeat.
that.
You definitely got to interview Wahlberg because you're a Pats guy.
Me and Mark we're pretty friendly. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
When you brought that in, I didn't want to say like, yeah, my boys with Mark too, but Mark's actually been when I was a young football player, he actually was a really cool dude. Like he's Mr. Boston. And so like if you get the call from fucking Mark Wahlberg to come to his house and hang out,
Yeah.
like that was like you're getting welcome to the city.
You got to have Wahlberg on. You got to have my boy Diamond Dallas Page on. You gotta DDP's got a couple of classic matches for sure, but one of them is, oh my God, him and Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage made his career.
Yeah.
There was a moment backstage where Arn Anderson was like the agent producer of the match. It might have been Spring Stampede or Great American Bash, 97. Macho, he's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And it's Randy is the one in charge.
Yeah.
Randy can say what they're going to do. And Randy goes, think I want to take the diamond cutter tonight. And Dallas is like, cool, yeah. And Arn Anderson is surprised and he goes, yeah, nah, not kicking out. You know, basically saying like, I'm not only letting you win, but like I'm taking your finish. And like that match was kind of what made DDP. Yeah. So you got to have him on, and then
That would be-
you guys got to watch one of his matches with Savage because you want to talk chemistry. Those two were peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, we're definitely
Hell
gonna have
yeah.
to get.
Oh, I
Love
can't wait.
that.
Heck yes.
I got the chill in the back of the neck from that. You do a good Macho Man, like your setting of how you do it. Because I would do Macho Man, Randy Savage voice.
Diamond cutter.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're an actor. You can know how to do that.
Austin, man, I was doing an Austin impression last night. I got invited to a Laker game, which I felt like a little kid. You know, I get to go to the Laker game. There's free food. Well, who am I? You know, I still feel that way all the time. But I was talking with wrestling fans and just kind of holding court, and we were talking about how Austin 316 came to be. And it was like Austin saying, you talk about your Bible, you talk about your John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. And it's like, it's crazy that he just like improvised that line in a promo and it became the best-selling t-shirt for 20 years or whatever
Still,
for the company.
Brilliant.
oh,
Brilliant.
Paul.
I'm sure Jesus is so proud.
You know I'm Jewish, right?
You are? You are?
I am.
Oh, I wouldn't have even done this.
Makes the circumcision makes more sense.
Just kidding.
now.
Just kidding. That's hilarious.
That's
No,
why I
dude,
bring it up.
Austin, one of the greatest to ever do it. He's on everybody's Rushmore for a reason. Mine is a little more skewed, but like if I'm doing a definitive Mount Rushmore and I'm like, you can't pick your favorites, dummy. Like just pick the best to do it. Hogan, Rock, Flair, Austin.
What are we doing over here?
That happens on movie sets sometimes.
What happens?
You'll be in the middle of a really serious scene, and suddenly,
now give me a director that will fucking motherfuck someone, and give me a director who's like, oh, it's all right, guys.
I think most of them are pretty chill about it. It's more the actors because like we're trying to do our best work, and then like some random dude on the crew is just like watching MLB Network on his phone, and he forgot to turn, and he didn't know that it got unplugged from his headphones for a second. Like suddenly we're like, is that Bob Uecker? I'm trying to talk about being molested as a child in a monologue. You know?
Just a bit outside.
Well,
Shout out to Bob Uecker. R.I.P.
Legend.
One of the greats.
Legend.
Shout out to Peter Gammons.
and shout out
Shout out Harry Carey.
shout out to you for coming into the Nut House and letting us get to know you.
This is so fun. I wish I could have done 3-4 hours with you.
This
guys.
was awesome.
This was awesome. Everyone go out and check them out in The Luckiest Man America.
It's now in theaters.
Out today.
Yes.
Out today, April 4th, starring Paul Walter Hauser and Walton Goggins. Paul, thank you so much. Check them out at
I mean, you'll by the time this drops, you'll have missed it, but we are in Long Beach, April 5th. We are having an event. It's called Battle Riot. It's a big deal. Look it up on YouTube. You can watch it for free. And then, of course, we got our next pay-per-view type event, May 10th in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's going to be a barn burner. And we've been putting all of our pay-per-views up on YouTube for free.
Hell yeah.
Love
live
that.
the night they air. So, like, we're showing a lot of love. Show us back. Click that like and subscribe and see what Major League Wrestling is up to.
Man, it's been so awesome, and it's been a pleasure to get to talk to you about your acting career and your interest and your love for wrestling. Thank you so much. And anytime you need us for anything from the Nut House, come hit us up, bro.
A beautiful Jew and a beautiful Gentile sitting here in harmony. A brilliant athlete who people are just going to find out that he can also act. A brilliant actor who people are just going to find out can get physical.
And that's how we ended. What a fucking job.
Good shit, man.
Man,
How cool is Paul?
Paul Walter Hauser. He's got such a cool vibe because you have this thought process of what he is because of the roles he's played.
Yeah. Freak.
Free.
Yeah.
And he's he's a really smart dude. And he's very EQ awesome.
So cool. Yeah.
Like you could tell you could put him in a room of anyone and he can get along with people.
He's our kind of guy.
yeah.
And I love learning that he started from comedy.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We all did a really good job that whole episode of not stealing any of his lines.
Jamie Taco.
Yeah. Shout out. We weren't Jamie Taco. So good job, Nut House, for, You know, letting him say his own lines and getting him out on his own time. Did you see that clip of him?
Yeah. Jumping off the ladder.
The ladder? Yeah.
Unreal, dude.
At Long
That was
Beach.
in Long Beach.
Yeah, it was, I think, the day after we recorded.
He had ladders on the brain after that ladder match we covered.
I wonder if he may have thought of us at the top of the ladder.
You think he
Do a
thought of the
radio
nut
hoop.
house?
I mean, he had to have.
This one's for Jules.
No, I don't think like that, but I mean, we did talk about it for
We did.
2 hours.
Let's go, Paul.
Look at Paul. Oh. That's got to hurt.
That's a man that does his own stunts, people.
90%, he said.
90%. Respectable.
He said if the liability person comes out and says, you're not allowed to do that. I wonder what Tom Cruise says to those people.
He probably says, get lost. I'm jumping out of this
I bet you he's an
He
asshole.
probably puts it in his contract and is like, I'm doing fucking stunts.
I'm free
I bet
climbing
you
the
he
Burj
writes the
Khalifa.
contracts. He owns the movies. He's
Honestly.
the movie.
No, he doesn't.
We even talked a little of that Scientology with Paul.
Dude, one time I thought I was so cool. I was being like kind of like a snarky edgelord or whatever, walking down Hollywood Boulevard by the Scientology place, and they're all doing their bullshit. And like one time I was like, "Can you help me with my career?" And they like grabbed onto that.
Oh, no.
And they were like, they wouldn't leave me alone. I was like feeding a pigeon in the park. They're like
Oh, my
walking down
God.
the street, like, "Yeah, we'll help you. We'll help you. Have you heard of Paul Haggis?"
We can introduce you to Elizabeth Moss.
Obviously,
Shit.
I didn't take him up on their offer.
Bro, I just got to say, the one thing that's sticking in my mind is Paul came in here and dropped Danny Woodhead references, Jim Varney references. Shout out Ernest, bro. Like,
Ernest.
was just
Ernest.
dropping
He got him tattooed on him.
awesome references, dude.
It's so cool.
I love his. What was his? And he had a list for everything.
Lyle Alzado.
He had a
He
list
was-
for
Lyle Alzado.
Lyle.
Yo,
Yeah.
you give someone a top 5 list, they're like,
He
had
got
a top
15
10.
prepared.
Yeah, he got 10 prepared.
And he had like
bang, 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 bang.
different, like, well, that's the list of all-time greats, but this is my personal list.
He's a very well thought out man.
Yeah. I can't wait. We didn't really talk about it too much, but he's going to play Chris Farley in a new biopic coming out. I can't wait for that.
I can't wait to see his new movie. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Luckiest Man in America. Oh,
Luckiest is it? Wait, is it in theater or is it
Out now.
I think it might only be in theaters.
I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll go to the theaters tomorrow night.
Take me with you. I'd be so down, brother. It looks like it's just out in theaters at the moment.
Out in theaters. Go see it.
Let's fucking go.
We can get some. I'm looking at tickets
Luckiest man in
here.
America. Dude cracks the hack. Honestly, it's basically a biopic of Ernie Adams in the stock market.
Yes, beating the system.
Beating the system, from what I've heard.
Yes.
He's never told me,
Yeah.
but I guarantee Ernie, like Warren Buffett, took all his fucking money out this 2 weeks ago. And he's just
Right,
sitting
he's probably
back
more
there
than
like
that.
this.
Yeah.
I wonder how the tomatoes are going to be.
Ernie, you got any tips? Well, if you wouldn't buy the whole company, would you buy one single share? That's your answer. I was like, all right.
Invest in things you know.
Should we get Ernie back on when we go back to
Can't invest
Boston?
in football.
Yeah, they already give me something that will get me insider tradingly. Like, I want to be right on the edge.
Give me something that's not insider trader, but it'll give me a tip.
Right up to the Martha Stewart line. Come on.
Yeah.
I wonder how you could like buy stocks in a team. Like not actually the team, but like the team performing well.
They tried to do that years ago. I remember with Gerard Mayo, where you could invest into the player's contract, but they'd have to pay out dividends or something. I remember Mayo talking about this when we were playing.
I know.
I think he may have done it or something. Or there was guys that were doing it where you could sell out your career earnings.
Jeez.
There was like a thing where, I don't know.
That's wild. I guess this is kind of getting a future, like
Yeah.
going to Vegas.
I think I found, Vestibule, I think. Oh man, no free plugs here though. Imagine if you invested in like Jamarcus Russell or something. What happened?
Can you short
we lost
the player?
everything.
Can I short Marcus Russell?
I want to short Sador Sanders.
There it is. Short.
Why?
Short.
Wrong attitude.
Honestly,
for a quarterback.
The Shador Sanders thing, I've been thinking about this because I love Deion.
Yep.
I really love Deion Sanders. Ever since the time he bought my dinner at the Super Bowl when I barely knew him, but it was the coolest thing ever. I love Deion.
Where was that? What restaurant were we at?
Red Bull or something. I
Ooh,
don't know,
nice,
some
nice.
burger
Okay.
joint in Minnesota.
Tight.
Maybe they're doing this so that he does slide, because the more you slide, the better team you go to, the better situation you go to. Who the fuck wants to go to New York with these guys? I love Daboll. I think he's a spectacular coach. But that operation right now, like, you know the pressure that's going to be there? That coaching staff, like, you know what I mean? Who wants to go to New York?
The only upside is Neighbors. You got some talent.
They got some good shit, and Daboll. Daboll is the only upside. But, like, I think they may have cashed too much of that what is it called? The equity of being a coach for the next year.
But we as Patriots, we
Yeah.
should be hyping him up.
Right.
Yeah. Him and the Giants would be a great fit.
No, I think Shedeur is going to be better than what people think, maybe.
He might. Yeah,
Because
you never
everyone's
fucking
putting
know.
this high standard on him. If he goes to a place and he gets to learn under another quarterback, I think he'll be pretty good.
Giants.
Under who?
Russell Wilson.
And
Jameis Winston.
maybe I just talked myself into the Giants.
I was gonna say, do you go out to the
Great
desert?
coach
and learn from-
Daboll.
We'll go to the Raiders.
Like neighbors. It is New York. You
Match
make
made
it
in
here,
heaven.
you make it
And how long?
anywhere.
They fucking stuck out with
What
Daniel
if-
Jones for a
what if-
very long time.
What if
did.
Shedeur Sanders went to New York? Dion would look like a fucking. He would look like a. He would look like the Wizard of Oz.
Here's why Giants.
He would look like the Wizard of Oz.
You got a win-win scenario with the Giants for Sanders. If he goes there and it's not a good year, Daboll's probably done. Maybe Dion has another great season and he's open for a head coaching position.
Yeah, but I want.
Or
think
if he goes and does well, he does well, and everyone's happy.
I
Because
don't
Dion
think
wants
Dion-
New York.
hey,
He
I
said he
don't-
wants New York.
I don't think Dion wants to go. I don't know. I have no clue. But I don't think Dion wants to go to the pros.
No. He
I think
re-upped
he
at
likes
Colorado
making
too.
an impact on young people's lives.
His impact in college football is like going into the living room and saying, "I'm fucking Deion Sanders. Come to my school. Here's some money." That's like his because he's not like an X's and O's guy as much as the other people. So he's like a fucking recruiter type.
Yeah, he's extended through
Yeah.
2029
He knows
now.
football.
I mean, obviously.
He's been on some Super Bowls now.
Obviously. But you go into
Two different organizations.
17-year-old
San Francisco
room.
49ers and the Dallas Cowboys played the late Baltimore Ravens, which was a championship foundation. He knows winning football. I don't know. We'll see. But that was a great interview with Paul Walter
he's awesome.
Hauser.
That's a guy I'd love to have back in the Nut House.
Gonna have him back in the Nut House. Also might run lines with him in the near future.
That was awesome.
It's time for the Chill Zone, brought to you by Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN and celebrate responsibly. Let me crack a beer.
We'll join you, brother.
The Blue Mountain.
Love that sound.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Facts.
All right, Jack, take this away.
What are we doing right now, Jeff?
Since this is a wrestling episode, and we talked Macho Man, any chance we get to talk Macho Man, we're talking him. Talked him with Paul.
Don't even know him that well. Just love watching him.
Right, same.
Don't even know the story, what he's about. I just am so entertained by him.
Is it possible to even know Macho Man Randy Savage?
I think we're all Macho Man in our own ways. It's always how is Macho Man, not who is Macho Man. Anyways, we mentioned this in the episode as we have been apart for a little bit of time. Jules, Kyler, and I, we stayed in touch, not by text, not by phone calls, but by Macho Man memes. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, all that stuff. All this, I can't do the long distance thing. All you relationship therapists out there, prescribe some Macho Man memes, and that'll get you right. So in honor of that, we're going to go down memory lane, so to speak, of some of our favorite Macho Man moments and react. How do we sound about that, guys?
Let's
How
do
do
it.
we feel about that? Sorry. Ready? Hit it.
Let's go.
No pukesters helping me to the left, and no pukesters helping me to the right. Didn't need them then, don't need them now.
We got to start using pukester more, I think.
We
Haven't used it.
got to use Pukester. B, the amount of what is in his system for him sweating
Cocaine.
profusely.
It's just cocaine.
His eyes look that's if you want to capture intensity, That's captured intensity.
Yes.
Right there.
Macho
fucking
man.
pukester.
You didn't need them then. Don't need them now.
Pukester. Don't need him now, you dumb pukester.
Here's a fan favorite.
Fan favorite.
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, has got more to offer.
Cream's always rising.
Always
to the top.
rising to the
See,
top.
I wanted to just keep on going in. I could have watched that for another 10 minutes.
I was gonna say that could have been the whole
There is
episode.
a 10-minute cut.
There
of it.
is. I kept it close for us.
Yeah, it's good.
It's the abridged version.
You should just start like committing to the bit and just start having creamers in your pockets at all times.
I do it on Fox. I do it on Fox
It hits
all
every
the time.
Every time.
It's about that season.
Like thinking about the origin of that, like was he just like waiting to go shoot?
They talked about it. He literally said he came up with it in like 2 seconds right before they were about to do it. He had nothing. He's like, watch this. And he pulled out some creamers.
grab some
And now look at it. Wrestling history, bro.
Pro.
Saw a woman psychiatrist, and she said I was OCD, one cool dude.
OCD.
OCD. You're so OCD, dude.
One cool dude.
Yo, we got Pukester we're going to start using.
OCD.
Who's the Pukester of the team? That's what we should start asking the next.
Yes.
The next.
They'll be like, Pukester?
And who's the OCD of the team? The one cool dude.
That'll be the litmus test to know if you're cool or not. Like, if we say Pukester, you'd be like, oh, duh, I know fucking Pukesters.
What is a Pukester, though? Is it just someone who's puking, like vomiting everywhere? Is it the punky that got too hammered at the party that's just
what I'm
a
wondering.
pukester?
It's got to be in the slappy world. Like, he's in that family, I feel like. Just a little weasel, like.
Let us know in the
pencil
comments,
neck.
guys.
Yeah,
We need to
yeah.
know. Let's get some justification on what we think Pukester is and how we're going to use it, because we're going to start using that and OCD.
Yes, they will both be part of the regular lexicon.
Next one.
Oh, another classic.
That you're a personal friend of Rod Stewart, as I understand.
Oh, yeah, when he did Tonight's the Night, man, he called me on the phone right before it was released, and he says, Macho Madness. Yeah, he calls me Madness. He calls me Madness, yeah. And a lot of people out there, you know, they're getting into Macho Madness really super strong. And Macho Madness, yeah, growing, and more seductive than sex.
You can't say that on TV.
I can say that.
I just said it.
Elizabeth was a babe.
He was, man. I love Miss Elizabeth.
I used to love Miss Elizabeth.
She was a ride or die.
Macho Matt. He didn't finish the story with Rod Stewart.
I know. That hooked me. Hearing Macho Man and Rod being on the phone, like
Maybe he did, but we didn't finish it. So
I don't know.
But he didn't. He got to get back to. I'm starting to
If anyone has any details about the Macho Man Rod Stewart friendship, please
madness.
hit up the hotline.
He calls him Macho Madness.
He called me
though.
Madness.
Maybe we should have Rod Stewart on
Oh,
to
I
talk
would
about a
kill to
Macho
have
Man
Rod on.
show.
Tonight's the night. Oh, you think I'm sexy? Oh, you think I'm body?
My mom loves Rod Stewart.
Oh,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Oh,
Maggie, I think
I got something to say to you. It's late September. Yep.
Yep.
Maggie May, a classic.
All right, let's what else we got?
And this is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Paul referenced that match in our episode.
Cup of coffee in the big time.
Cup of coffee in the big time.
The big time.
I love it.
Where's the big time?
Yeah, just like the big leagues.
I wonder if that meant a city.
I don't know. I would just thought it meant like all Ricky the Steamboat just got. All he had was a little cup of coffee.
Ricky
was
the
out.
Steamboat?
Yeah, Ricky the Steamboat. Remember him? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Sorry.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
See, what's interesting about him is his real name. It's one of these weird instances where his actual given name is cooler than his wrestling name.
What's his
his
real-
real name's Ricky Blood.
Oh,
That's way cooler
way cool.
than Steamboat. Just go with your real name,
What's
bro.
Macho Man's real name?
I think it's Randy Poffo, I believe.
We're gonna have to do a book report on him. Maybe gotta start seeing who we really are watching.
Yeah, Randy Mario Poffo,
Mario.
a.k.a. Macho Man.
He's Italian? He's got to be Italian.
I guess
didn't know
so.
I didn't Macho Man was Italian.
I didn't either. The pride of Southern Illinois University also. Oh, Carbondale, sorry. That's the main Southern Illinois. Yeah. Sorry. Hey, don't forget about Edwardsville in there. SIUE. It's more of a branch campus.
The satellite,
Yeah,
Southern
whoops.
Illinois.
Branch campus. Oh, Jackie gets
Shout-
him again.
Shout out Macho Man. Oh, that was so fun.
Oh man, Macho, I could watch those all day.
All day.
That was a fun chill zone. It was a very fun chill zone.
That was.
And thanks to our favorite beer, Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN. And remember, celebrate responsibly in those Mountain Blue cold Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
Well, what a match. What a wrestling match. Thanks again to Paul. And that's been another episode of Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember,
Rate and review.
leave us a 5-star review on Spotify while you're there. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a comment on the YouTube full episode. We read the best ones all the time, guys. We read the best ones all the time, guys and girls.
Nuts.
Keep them coming.
Leave a message on the hotline at 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.